Are Japanese people horrified by Imperial Japan the way Germans are horrified by Nazi Germany? Not in the same way, because the Japanese government has not owned up to and apologized for the stuff they did in the past, unlike the Germans. Many Japanese students aren't taught what Imperial Japan did, or they are taught an inaccurate version that portrays them better. The Japanese attitude towards WW2 is generally somewhere between maybe that wasn't our best idea, and we were just trying to civilize you ungrateful barbarians. Japan continues to be insanely nationalist and racist, just under the US thumb. In general, Western history books, including Japanese ones, tend to greatly downplay Japan's role on the Axis during WW2. Even if some of the more grotesque examples of Japanese atrocities are being talked about more openly now, there are so many that just haven't had the same level of documentation or pictures. Not really. Japan's less open about their past than Germany. It's complicated. In simple and straightforward terms, they are not horrified and feel proud of the actions they took throughout Asia, a clear example being the Yasukuni Shrine, where people are still allowed to pray for those who started the war and class of war criminals. The Japanese education system whitewashes the imperial years. Most younger Japanese think that Japan was an innocent victim of the war with a unique status as victims since they were the only ones to be nuked. It's the kind of thing that slowly goes away with each passing generation, but you can probably assume that a good amount of Japanese people over 50 are pro-imperial Japanese nationalists. Not really, it's honestly not taught as much as you'd think. If you asked a random Japanese person about Japanese atrocities during WW2, they probably wouldn't be able to tell you much about it. Japanese people are still very racist towards surrounding Asian countries, so not much has changed in that regard either. Not really. The Japanese largely ignore or make excuses for that part of their history. They've never properly acknowledged it and come to terms with what they did, like how Germany did. Absolutely not, because they aren't taught about that part of WW2. Japan still covers up and downplays their involvement, even demanding that other countries tear down memorials to Japanese victims. No, because the Japanese government mostly turns a blind eye on the atrocities they committed and don't teach their younger generation about it. If you visit the Yushukan War Museum in Tokyo, you will find no mention of any war crimes that the Japanese military committed. For what it's worth, I've been to the Hiroshima Memorial, and they make it very clear that Imperial Japan was to blame for the destruction of their city, and it was Imperial Japan's decisions that lead to these horrors. There was a lot of "we choose aggression," and look how that turned out. So to answer OP's question, they seem to look at Imperial Japan with pity. It's not demonized, like Nazi Germany, but it's seen as a sad time of poor choices. My Japanese friend who moved to the UK in 1976 was unaware that the Second World War had happened. She was horrified. I once talked to an Okinawan who kept telling me not to call him Japanese and was calling the Japanese imperialists, and he hated them, if that counts. I'm not Japanese nor Yukio an Okinawan, so I don't know what's going on there. I guess they would be more horrified by the A-bomb-throwing United States. Just a wild guess. No same reason Japan has never made an official apology for WW2-era atrocities such as Nanjing. Doubt it. They are taught history much the same way that some Americans want their kids taught.